Hollywood's dead.
Yeah.
The magic of Hollywood, I think, is one movie, one weekend can change the entire outlook of the entire industry.
Hollywood didn't collapse in a single moment. Didn't wake up one morning and forget how to tell stories. What happened was slower, more subtle, and far more dangerous, man. The industry followed a pattern, a chain of misread signals reinforced by financial success and protected by institutional ego that hardened into a repeatable system, a pipeline. And if you want to trace where modern Hollywood started losing audience trust, you can follow the pipeline through 4 movies. Mad Max Fury Road, Ghostbusters 2016, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and finally, Captain Marvel. Each one represents a stage in Hollywood's transformation. Each one taught the industry the wrong lesson, and together, they created the machine currently eating the entertainment business alive. Hollywood loves patterns. Not understanding, not nuance, patterns. Something simple, something repeatable. Something that can be reduced into a presentation and handed to 6 other studios by Monday morning. So when Fury Road exploded out of the scene, Hollywood didn't study it. It scanned it, downloaded the dumbest possible takeaway. Because Fury Road is not successful due to luck. It's not successful because of branding. It's not successful because it checked demographic boxes. The movie works because George Miller directs the thing like a man operating heavy machinery with military precision. Every frame communicates information. Every action sequence has geography, momentum, cause and effect. The camera tells the story, the editing tells the story, the movement tells the story. It looks chaotic, but it's engineered chaos. That level of craftsmanship is unbelievably difficult to achieve, which is exactly why Hollywood ignored it. Because craft is hard, discipline is hard, precision is hard. So instead of studying why Fury Road actually worked, the industry latched onto the easiest, loudest, most marketable angle imaginable. The feminist discourse. The Eve Ensler consultation, the thematic layer, the headlines, the think pieces, the online conversation. And suddenly Hollywood arrived at this catastrophic conclusion. Attach activist branding to a blockbuster and audiences will automatically connect with it. Hell no. That was never the lesson. The themes in Fury Road work because they're supported by masterclass filmmaking. The structure carries the message. The craft carries the theme. Hollywood flipped that relationship upside down. It treated the visible conversation as the engine instead of the byproduct. And financially, the story becomes even stranger. Because Fury Road was respected, it was influential, it was critically adored. But it wasn't some unstoppable global mega hit. It earned less worldwide than Terminator Genesis. Think about how insane that is. One film became a cultural blueprint, the other became a punchline. That should immediately tell you Hollywood doesn't evaluate success rationally. It follows narratives, perception, prestige, industry signaling. Fury Road became symbolic, and instead of studying the precision that made it work, Hollywood studied the discourse orbiting around it. That mistake becomes the foundation of the pipeline, because discussion isn't causation. The conversation existed because the movie worked. The movie didn't work because of the conversation. That distinction changed everything. Then came Ghostbusters 2016. And this is where the pipeline mutates from creative misunderstanding into institutional self-protection. Because reboots aren't automatically bad. Hollywood has recycled intellectual property for decades. Sometimes it works brilliantly. But Ghostbusters 2016 wasn't treated like a movie. It was treated like a social event before audiences even saw a frame of it. The marketing campaign revolved heavily around identity. Again, representation itself isn't the problem. The problem is what happened next. Because when criticism started rolling in, something shifted in the industry response. Discussion about pacing, tone, comedy structure, and character chemistry. All of it started getting rerouted into a completely different conversation. Suddenly criticism itself became suspicious. And that's an unbelievably dangerous mindset for a creative industry. Because criticism is information. It tells you where structure failed, where tone collapsed, and where audience engagement broke down. Ghostbusters 2016 had obvious technical problems. Scenes dragged, improvisation overwhelmed rhythm. The comedic timing constantly stepped on itself. Characters blurred together. These are solvable filmmaking problems. But instead of examining those weaknesses, Hollywood discovered something far more convenient. Deflection. If criticism can be reframed as morally suspect, then the work itself no longer has to improve. And once an industry learns that lesson, the feedback loop starts dying. Because feedback is only useful if people are willing to hear it. This is where the pipeline becomes self-protected. Fury Road taught Hollywood to misunderstand success. Ghostbusters taught Hollywood how to dismiss failure. That combination is lethal, because now the system no longer needs self-reflection. Now it has insulation. And once criticism becomes the enemy, every future mistake gets amplified.
Down, because then I was the bad guy. So then it became even worse, the attacks, and then the media picked up on it, and everybody had an opinion about this, and all the stories on the media were like, oh, this controversial thing, and the internet's up in arms. Whereas it was,
Just let it in.
Then Hollywood receives the greatest validation imaginable, The Force Awakens, an absolute financial supernova, massive opening weekend, global hype, cultural domination. And Hollywood looked at the box office and declared total victory. Except there was one problem. That success didn't belong to them. It belonged to accumulated goodwill. Decades of it, man. People weren't showing up because Disney proved it understood Star Wars. People showed up because Star Wars had been dormant for years and audiences desperately wanted to believe again. That's not the same thing. And structurally, The Force Awakens reveals the pipeline in its purest form. The movie doesn't continue the original story, it replicates the emotional memory of the original story. Desert orphan, droid with secret information, alien cantina, planet killing superweapon, mentor death, and a trench run style finale. The film operates like nostalgia tracing paper, and temporarily that works, because recognition is powerful.
Forgive me.
Audiences enjoy familiarity. It creates comfort, it lowers resistance. But recognition isn't storytelling.
Disney was there, they had a plan.
Recognition is borrowed emotional equity. And borrowed equity eventually runs out. Hollywood completely misread this distinction. Executives saw the numbers and concluded audiences wanted safer storytelling. More repetition, more recycling, and more familiarity. Hell no. Audiences wanted to reconnect with something they already loved. Those are radically different things. And then the pipeline mutates again. Because now Hollywood discovers something terrifyingly efficient. Nostalgia can delay scrutiny. If audiences are emotionally overwhelmed by recognition, they may not immediately notice the structural weakness underneath. At least temporarily. But eventually the cracks appear, because shortcuts always expose themselves over time. And nowhere is that clearer than with Rey. Rey doesn't even have a traditional hero's journey. She bypasses enormous portions of one. Failure rarely changes her, training barely matters, growth feels compressed or skipped entirely. That's not compelling progression. It's narrative acceleration disguised as empowerment. And Hollywood learned another catastrophic lesson from the response cycle around these films. Identity could function as armor. Criticism no longer needed engagement, it could be reframed. Now the pipeline is nearly complete. Misread success, deflect criticism, replace storytelling with recognition, and protect the product from accountability. At this point, the machine is building itself. Then comes Captain Marvel to the party. This is where the pipeline stops being accidental. This is where it becomes policy. Because Marvel Studios didn't invent these strategies, it industrialized them. Captain Marvel released between Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Possibly the safest release slot in modern blockbuster history. Audience anticipation was already nuclear. The MCU had spent a decade building momentum toward Endgame. Fans were fully invested. The cliffhanger ending of Infinity War guaranteed massive turnout for anything connected to the finale. That context matters, because Hollywood looked at Captain Marvel crossing $1 billion and treated it like proof of concept. Not timing, not placement, not franchise momentum. Proof of fucking concept. And that misunderstanding locked the entire pipeline into place. Shit, you could have put a sock puppet in that slot and audiences would have showed up. Because the real product being sold was access to Endgame.
I can do this all day.
Captain Marvel became required viewing for a larger event audiences already had emotionally committed to. That's not the same thing as standalone resonance. But Hollywood saw the numbers and decided the formula had been validated at scale. Now the system was complete.
Disney was there, they had a plan.
Surface level branding over structure, identity as insulation, nostalgia over storytelling, and momentum mistaken for creative success. And once studios believe the formula itself prints money, the hard work starts disappearing. Writing weakens, character arcs flatten, dialogue becomes functional sludge, and franchises become assembly lines. Because why spend years developing stories if marketing can compensate for structural weaknesses? That's the pipeline, not creativity, optimization. and eventually the damage becomes visible. Franchises lose cohesion, characters feel interchangeable, stories blur together into content paste. Audiences stop showing up automatically. Not because people stop loving movies, because Hollywood trained audiences to become cautious. People wait now. They check reviews, they rely on word of mouth, and they hesitate before spending money. That hesitation didn't appear randomly, it was learned. Because once audiences repeatedly experience hollow storytelling wrapped in nostalgia and marketing installation, trust erodes, slowly, then all at once. This is why modern franchise filmmaking increasingly feels like background noise instead of cultural events. The structure still exists, the logos still exist, the intellectual property still exists, but the emotional investment weakens. Because emotional investment requires payoff, not recognition, not branding, and not discourse management. It requires payoff. Hollywood didn't lose the audience overnight, it trained them to disengage. One bad lesson at a time. Fury Road taught the industry to misunderstand why something worked. Ghostbusters taught it how to dismantle criticism instead of learning from it. The Force Awakens convinced executives nostalgia could replace storytelling. Captain Marvel proved the system could print money without fixing the underlying problems. That's the pipeline. A stack of shortcuts reinforced by temporary success until the foundation underneath the entire machine started collapsing. And now Hollywood is staring at shrinking engagement, declining trust, and audiences that no longer arrive automatically. Not because people stopped loving stories, because the industry stopped respecting why stories work in the first place.
Hey man, you down? Like and subscribe. Catch you on the flip side, flapjacks.